I want to welcome everyone here to the Pasadena Police Academy for our award ceremony. My name is Josh Bruger, and I have the pleasure of serving as the Chief of Police for the City of Pasadena. I want to extend a very special welcome to all the family and friends that have come out. I'll speak for the men and women over here. They cannot do this job without the support of everybody in this room, because it truly does take a team to be able to support the men and women when they put on that uniform or they put on a suit, whatever it is, and they go to work every day. And so I want to thank you all for the support that you give them. I have the pleasure to personally recognize and present police service awards to those who have gone above and beyond during their tour of duty. The contribution each employee demonstrates to law enforcement, this department, and the citizens is profound. The passion is espoused by each employee is a model we set to meet every day of our lives. These awards ultimately exhibit a token of recognition for the purest of talents and the highest of achievements. Before I get started, I want to recognize the mayor, Mayor Jeff Wagner, for coming out. I appreciate you coming by, Mayor. I know it means a lot to everybody to have your support and the support of council. I know you have another engagement right after this, but I appreciate you stopping by. In 2021, I created a Chief's Challenge coin and have been awarding those for the past couple years to officers who maybe didn't rise to this level of recognition, but did a job well done. And so I also use those to recognize officers as well as these ceremonies. I say that to let you know that everyday officers are performing in a stellar way and being recognized behind the scenes. I say this often, but there is good work that happens every day, not only in this police department, but police departments across this country that goes unrecognized. Because men and women that do it, they don't do it for the recognition. They do it because it's the right thing to do and to serve their fellow mankind. The awards which are being presented today are Outstanding Performance Award, Leadership Award, Unit Citation, Chief Citation, and Meritorious Service ribbons. We have a pretty packed schedule here today, so I'm going to try to go as quick as I can. And when you get your award, if you'll come over on this side for photograph, we'll do them all over here to keep it easy. The first award is going to be the Outstanding Performance Award. The Outstanding Performance Award may be presented to employees who display a high degree of initiative and professionalism in performance of their duty. The officers receiving the Outstanding Performance Award today are Brandon Wilson, Hunter Trujillo, Devin Frederick, Mike Phillips, Oscar Escobar, Charles Hawthorne, Charles Bonzel, Sylvia Trevino, Eduardo Prasina, Douglas Buckert, and Chad Johnston. And if Brandon, Hunter, and Devin can come to the front, we'll get started with our first presentation. If y'all stand over here for me. It's going to be the same format for each one. I'll tell you a little bit about the officers receiving the award, and then I'll tell you what they did to receive the award. Officer Brandon Wilson, right here to my right, your left. He graduated the 73rd Academy class in 2017. He has served on evening shift patrol and been in FTO since 2021. Prior to coming to Pasadena, he worked for Precinct 8 for 1 year, and then got smart and came over here. And then he served 4 years with the Marine Corps, where he was a search and rescue swimmer. Officer Hunter Trujillo started with the department in 2021 after graduating the 78th Academy class. He's currently assigned to evening shift patrol. And Officer Devin Frederick has been with the department for almost 5 years, having graduated from the 74th Pasadena Police Academy. He's currently assigned to evening shift patrol, and throughout his career, Officer Frederick has served on both evening shift patrol as well as night shift. He's currently a member of SRT and is also a field training officer. And what they did to be recognized, on January 12, 2022, shortly after 9 o'clock, patrol responded to an apartment fire at 1706 Pasadena Boulevard. The blaze had encompassed a total of 8 residences. Officers Wilson, Trujillo, and Frederick forced their way into 2 apartments in order to safely evacuate numerous residents and pets. Citizens congregated outside the building and informed one of the officers that one of the apartments was empty. Officers Frederick and Trujillo entered the apartment to verify if it was vacant, only to discover a young man there asleep. They were able to safely get him out of the building. These officers could have responded to the scene, held a perimeter, conducted traffic and crowd control duties while waiting for the fire department to respond. And although ultimately one life was lost in the tragedy, the reality is it could have been many more if it wasn't for the valiant efforts of these 3 officers. You're to be commended.
group effort all around. That's all, guys. There was a lot of officers that aren't recognized today that were also there, and it's all around evening shift comes together as a team in moments like this. So it was really just a team effort. So these awards are really for the entire evening shift team as a whole, not just for us. Thank you.
Officer Escobar. Officer Escobar graduated the 76th Academy class in 2019. Prior to joining the department, he served 4 years in the Air Force. He's currently assigned to night shift patrol and a member of the SRT team. I should have said it before, but if any of the family, when your family member or friends up here, if you want to move around to get pictures, you're more than welcome to move. On January 20th, 2022, at approximately 2 a.m., Officer Escobar responded to a call for service regarding a residential fire at a multi-unit complex on Spooner Street. Although no police personnel were dispatched to the call yet, Officer Escobar saw it holding on the call screen and took the initiative to respond. Officer Escobar's body cam footage showed visible flames on the exterior of the building. He notified dispatch of the active fire and evacuated residents of other apartments in the building. He was able to secure a fire extinguisher from a resident and used it to suppress the flames on the outside of the building. Officer Escobar arrived on the scene approximately 6 minutes prior to the responding fire units. Officer Escobar's actions ensured safe evacuation of the residents, prevented the fire from significantly damaging the structure. For their heroic efforts that day, I'd like to recognize them with the Outstanding Performance Award. Do you want to say something?
Oh, no, sir.
All right. That's usually the answer. Put them in front of a man with a gun, they'll do it, but put them in front of a microphone and they don't want any part of it. But, I think the fire chief should be here for all the work we're doing for the fire department. I'm going to say this, we have an amazing fire department with it, and as many of you know, it's the largest all-volunteer fire department in the country. And for being an all-volunteer fire department, I will put them up against any paid fire department any day of the week. But we have a great partnership with them and work hand in hand. Officer Hawthorne, come on up. Officer Hawthorne graduated the Pasadena's Modified Police Academy in 2019. Prior to joining the department, he served 12 years with the Texas Medical Center Police Department, where he was a field training officer and a watch commander. He's currently assigned to night shift patrol. On January 22nd, 2022, patrol responded to the residence of a military veteran in crisis. The veteran was in crisis because it was the anniversary of a date of a traumatic event he experienced in Afghanistan. Suicide among veterans is a very real problem across our country, as most of you know. Officer Hawthorne, who's a veteran himself, was very calm, reassuring, and empathetic when talking to the citizen. He was patient and professional and spent an hour talking to the vet. Eventually, he was able to convince the veteran to voluntarily seek medical attention. We say it all the time, but every call is different. You never know what you're going to be asked to do. And Officer Hawthorne knew that he needed to slow down, listen, and give the veteran a voice. His care and concern possibly prevented a suicide that night. For making the ultimate difference in the life of a citizen, I'm happy to present Officer Hawthorne with the Outstanding Performance Award. Officer Bonzel. Officer Bonzel's been with the department since 2010. He served as a PSO and was in the Marine Corps prior to attending the 68th Police Academy. Officer Bonzel's a member of the SRT team and is currently assigned to the Proactive Policing Unit. Let me say this before I begin. One of the things about Charles here is he's a guy, flies under the radar. He's one of those quiet, hard workers. His name always comes up. It's always in a good way for his catches. And I say this all the time. I usually, I either know your name. If I know your name really well, it's either good or really bad. Yours is really good, I'll say that. But he just catch after catch, gang members, drug dealers, firearms. You're always out there doing good work, and I appreciate that. Officer Bonzel had been monitoring the activities of the Latin King gang member for several months, uncovering a plethora of organized criminal activities. Officer Bonzel worked with the Financial Crimes Unit on fraud charges against the suspect. He then teamed up with the Proactive Policing Unit and the Narcotics Unit and the Gulf Coast Violent Offenders Task Force to serve a warrant on the suspect on January 29, 2022. When the subject left his residence on that date, Officer Bonzel observed him and performed a commit a traffic violation, conducted a traffic stop. During the traffic stop, Officer Bonzel discovered a handgun. He also received consent from the subject to search his apartment. During search of the residence, Officer Bonzel uncovered a cache of weapons and narcotics. 4 AK-47 style weapons with large ammo drums, gun auto switch, and a little over a kilo of cocaine, along with other narcotics, which were ultimately seized from the residence. Officer Bonzel's diligence, work ethic, and initiative culminated with numerous charges being filed on a known dangerous gang member and removed dangerous drugs and weapons from the streets of Pasadena. For his tenacity, I'm honored to present him with the Outstanding Performance Award. Officers Trevino, Pacina, and Sergeant Buckert, please. Officer Sylvia Trevino graduated from the 54th Police Academy and has been with the Family Violence Division since 2004. She's also served as a member of the Crisis Negotiation Team since 2011. Officer Pacina, who's on my far right, your far left. Now you're going to mess me all up. Graduated from the 68th Academy in 2015. While on patrol, he served as a field training officer and a member of the SRT team. He's currently assigned to the Burglary and Theft Unit. Sergeant Douglas Buckert graduated from the 65th Police Academy in 2010. During his 12 years with the department, he spent 5 years on patrol and 5 years as an investigator in burglary and theft prior to promoting to sergeant in 2020. He's currently assigned to day shift patrol and is their field training supervisor. On February 28, 2022, video capturing a very distraught female running away from a pursuing vehicle through a city park was posted online on social media. Many of you may have seen this. When we put it out there, trying to find her, I'll just say it went viral after that, not for good reasons. The video was very disturbing and an investigation was launched. The female in the video needed to be identified, the suspect vehicle needed to be identified, and most importantly, the welfare of the female was the utmost and urgent concern. Sergeant Granados and Officer Jessica Ramirez of our social media unit posted the video on all available outlets requesting information from the public. Within hours, the video was viral, receiving over 7,700 shares and 1,400 comments and dozens of phone calls and tips. Sergeant Granados and Officer Ramirez performed flawlessly, managing all the comments as well as staying in constant communication with detectives and patrol throughout the investigation. Sergeant Granados and Officer Ramirez are going to get their awards at later time because they couldn't be here. Sergeant Buckert and Officer Pacina took it upon themselves to respond to the park depicted in the video to look for other pieces of evidence which might help identify any of the parties involved, including any additional video footage. Officers Rice, Trevino, and Phelan dropped everything to collect and follow up all the leads and evidence in an attempt to identify and locate the female on the video. After a 44-hour investigation, the suspect driving the vehicle in the video was identified and located. The suspect gave a full account of the incident, and the female was also identified, located, and found to be physically unharmed. All these officers pulled together across different divisions to reach a positive conclusion to what could have been a very tragic event. The teamwork and their combined determination and efforts when time was of the essence is what earned them this Outstanding Performance Award. Congratulations. Doug, would you like to speak?
No, thank you.
Officer Johnston, if you'll come on up for me, please. Officer Johnston started with the department in 2019 after he graduated the 76th Academy class. He's currently assigned to night shift patrol and is a member of the SRT team. I've said it a bunch that we as a department need to recognize the officers that show up every day, day in, day out, and are ready to work and make a difference. And Officer Johnston is that person, and that's what he's being recognized for here today. The supervisors have been impressed with his dedication to the mission and goals of the department and his instincts for ferreting out stolen cars, guns, drugs, and suspects with outstanding warrants. In a 3-month period, Officer Johnston made at least 15 felony arrests from proactive policing efforts, recovered 4 stolen and occupied vehicles, identified and located several suspects from bolos, and seized narcotics to include meth, fentanyl, liquid codeine, cocaine, and marijuana. During one of the drug-related incidents, he was able to contact the narcotics unit, who successfully secured a cash seizure as well. Honestly, his work ethic has resulted in more arrests and charges filed than can be adequately captured in this brief synopsis, none of which counts for the dispatch calls for service or his DWI traffic stops he made in addition to all the other stuff. Officer Johnston works hard each shift and produces quality work. His consistency, dedication, and work ethic exemplifies the standard used to measure all officers anywhere. He has certainly earned this outstanding performance award, not because of one particularly noteworthy event, but because of his willingness to exceed expectations every day he comes to work. Congratulations. You don't smile? You want to say anything?
Nope.
All right. Sergeant Shirley. Sergeant Shirley is going to be receiving the Leadership Award today. The Leadership Award is designed to honor and recognize a supervisor who consistently adheres to the department's values while supporting the mission through positive leadership and managerial practices. The nominee should demonstrate a unique blend of human relations skills and knowledge of the division or unit, coupled with the ability to apply problem-solving and communication skills to the successful management of their employees. This person is able to balance the goals of the department with the individual goals of the employees. Sergeant Shirley graduated the 55th Police Academy in 2003, and prior to coming to Pasadena, he worked for the LaPorte Police Department for 3 years. During his tenure with the department, he's worked assignments on patrol and the Commercial Vehicle Enforcement Divisions. He's also served as a field training officer, bike patrol officer, crash investigator, and as a member of SRT and Honor Guard. He promoted to sergeant in 2019 and is currently assigned as a traffic sergeant over CVE and motors. Sergeant Shirley resigned from the Honor Guard after serving the unit for 14 years, being one of the longest serving members. For most of the last year, he held the assignment by himself. And we joke about this a lot, but officers on the Honor Guard, they're volunteers. And so we frequently, when we're talking about it, we'll say, how do you fire a volunteer? And so sometimes it's difficult when you have all volunteers to try to get things done. And Mark's been able to do that. In January of 2021, Lieutenant Dumbrowell became supervisor of the unit with no prior experience. Sergeant Shirley was essential in bringing Lieutenant Dumbrowell up to speed through a series of funerals for retired officers, as well as, unfortunately, one of our own officers, Pete Mejia. Additionally, the unit serves as color guard for various ceremonies and functions throughout the year, while Honor Guard is a collateral duty. It's the formal face of the department at major events. It represents the city and the department while honoring our former members and fallen officers throughout the region. It's a task not to be taken lightly, and until 2021 was staffed with 2 sergeants. The amount of extra work placed on Sergeant Shirley during this time was in significant addition to his normal workload. For his long service to the unit and his dedication to the unit, he's being presented with the Leadership Award today. It would have been extremely difficult for the unit to have been successful without his leadership and dedication. And Mark, I want to say thank you for all that you did, because I know how hard it is to get volunteers sometimes to volunteer. And you found a way many times to get it when we didn't think it would happen. And, going to funeral after funeral takes its toll. And I remember the stretch, Dallas, and then in Louisiana right after that. And it was back to back. And so just the mental toll to go and represent the department, that was very significant. So I want to tell you thank you for all that you did.
Thank you, sir.
Say something?
No, thank you, sir.
Don't go anywhere. Lieutenant Dumbrowell wants to come up and make a presentation.
Thank you, Chief. Chief covered everything. I don't really have anything to add. When he said he came in with no experience, that's really true. I reported days on my first day, and I checked the org chart to be sure I was in the right office, and I saw I had the Honor Guard under it, and I'd never had it, in all that time. So I reached out to Sergeant Shirley, team members, and found out what they needed. And the stretch the Chief's talking about, we had 4 funerals in 5 weeks. And, from my perspective, these were retired officers, a lot of them, but they were my coworkers. They're the people who I grew up and worked with, so it was significant to me. The unit got together and got this plaque for your years of service with the unit, with the team picture on it, the last team picture we had. And I just wanted to present that to you for the work you did. And thank you personally for leaving me something in the condition it was to get where it is today. So thank you.
Thank you.
Still nothing?
No.
I think I almost got him talked into coming back on the team too out in the hallway before we started, so he doesn't know it yet. The next awards are going to be the Unit Citation Awards, which I'm going to present next. And receiving the award today is a Burglary and Theft Investigative Division. And the unit citation may be awarded to a unit, division, or individual whose level of performance is worthy of recognition. The Burglary and Theft Unit consists of Sergeant Gary White and Detectives Eduardo Pacina, Nicholas Slight, Luis Garcia, Kevin Satterwhite, Richard T.P., and Eric Dolligray. For the purpose of the citation, Patrol Officers Ray Perez, Jesus Paz, Jason Carter, Richard Powell, Officer Vanderwerf, and Sergeants Douglas Buckert and Michael Johnson are also being recognized. In February of 2022, Sergeant White implemented an organized retail theft initiative focused on shoplifting occurring in the Fairmont Plaza area involving retailers Ulta, Sephora, Old Navy, and Bath & Body Works. And what we noticed was, or what they noticed, was that there was significant organized retail theft. It wasn't somebody walking in and stealing a candle or stealing lipstick. It was going in and filling up bags and bags of stuff. And I've heard it, it's just shoplifting, whatever. But at the end of the day, all those costs end up passing down to everybody in this room when you go to make purchases to offset the losses that those companies are experiencing. And most of these folks are not from Pasadena, but it makes it real easy to hit these places when they're on the Beltway because they can get in, do what they do, get on the Beltway, and they're back out of town again. And so they recognize this. They conducted surveillance from the parking lot after providing their contact information to management and employees on the named businesses. The employees would observe someone concealing merchandise and then alert Sergeant White and the detectives via cell phone. Burglary and theft detectives would then contact, identify, arrest, and interview the suspects. Day shift patrol officers were also on standby to conduct traffic stops on previously identified theft suspects in the area. During the course of the first two-day retail theft initiative, 12 suspects were arrested, 7 misdemeanor and 3 felony shoplifting arrests. And folks, you have to steal quite a bit from those locations to get to a felony level. So they're taking a lot. 1 failure to identify and 1 outside warrant. Given the success of the first initiative, a second one was implemented, and the second initiative was longer and garnered even more impressive results. Of particular note, a foot pursuit resulted in the arrest of suspects who stole 127 bottles of perfume, totaling over $9,500 from Ulta. A female was caught shoplifting over $3,400 worth of items from a separate occasion on Ulta. Ultimately, along with numerous other arrests for various offenses encountered during the initiative, the three-week effort resulted in over $19,000 worth of merchandise stolen, recovered, and returned to the businesses. With Sergeant White's leadership, as well as professional action of the 6 detectives assigned to the unit and the support and collaboration of patrol officers, crime was deterred, criminals were arrested, and the fear of crime was reduced for those who shop and work in our city. It's a well-deserved recognition, and I'm happy to present them with this unit citation for their outstanding efforts. If y'all will come forward, please. How do you want to do this, Stanley?
I'm gonna move. Everybody turn sideways.
Okay. Okay, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Give me one moment. I wasn't ready for that angle. Hang on a second. Almost there. All right, here we go. All right, cool. Thank you. Does anybody want to speak?
Sergeant? Well, good, Sergeant.
All right.
That's Rich Ribbons are in there. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Thanks, sir.
Next, we're going to present the Chief Citation Awards, and the PSO Command and the Proactive Policing Unit will be recognized today. Chief Citation presented to a unit, division, or individual whose level of performance is worthy of recognition based on information reviewed by the Chief of Police. And if Cecilia and Christy Lewis will come up here for me, please. Our PSO Command is under the leadership of Christy Lewis and Cecilia Carroll. During 2021, Director Lewis and Manager Carroll showed steady and authentic leadership in the face of ongoing obstacles and adversity, particularly in the area of personnel and staffing. Doesn't turn on the news, open a newspaper, go to a website on a news website, and you'll see that staffing in law enforcement across the country is a tremendous problem. And on the classified side, we haven't been as affected as far as recruiting. On the dispatch and jail side, we have. So Director Lewis and Manager Carroll performed in-depth analysis in order to plan strategically to tackle the problem, all while confronting the day-to-day challenges presented by jail and dispatch operations. And we never have issues in there. There's never any complaints out of there. They've worked through personnel challenges, methodically addressed toxic employee influences, and model professional workplace behavior from the start. They were able to persevere through the staffing shortages during the COVID pandemic and the passing of a dedicated dispatcher and friend, Stephanie Wilborn. Some of the other highlights of the leadership of Director Lewis and Manager Carroll include they changed the historically sink or swim methodology of training new dispatchers to a comprehensive onboarding and orientation program. The new concept exceeded expectation and ensured new hires were exposed to call taking as well as defensive tactics in a learning environment versus completely on the job, which decreased stress and increased retention. Of the 14 PSOs who originally went through the new onboarding program, there was a previously unheard of 85% retention rate. During the past year, 4 PSOs received promotions, and this figure speaks to the leadership commitment to personnel development despite operating in an ever-present low staffing environment. Christy and Cecilia also requested to have more of a hand in the hiring process with the goal to shorten the hiring process and retain an active list of viable candidates on a continual basis. PSOs are now being cross-trained to work both dispatch and jail in order to improve the PSO infrastructure and instill flexibility into scheduling. Aside from the cross-training, efforts have also been taken to offer leadership training and mentoring to the staff. The measures highlighted, among others, are foundational and will have a positive impact on the PSO command for years to come. On top of all this, Director Lewis also recommended Manager Carroll for a 2021 Innovator of the Year award through PSAP Finest, which she received and was recognized nationally. For all these reasons and a whole bunch more, I'm proud to present the PSO Command with the Chief Citation Award. Sergeant Dudley, if you'll bring your crew up here, please. The Proactive Policing Unit serves many functions at the police department. Is comprised of officers Charles Bonzo, Ruben Castro, Drew Greer, Daniel Jenkins, and Ivan Santianas under the leadership of Sergeant Brian Dudley. I'm going to go off script here for just a minute and tell you that these guys, if somebody puts them onto something, they're probably going to be in jail in about an hour or two. It seems like, hands down, hey, we need y'all to go find this guy. Somehow they always find that guy. Probably better not ask questions sometimes, but they always seem to find the guy we're looking for. And I'll tell you this, we've tried this program off and on, at least from my time here at the department in the last almost 25 years. And every time we've tried it, it seems that there's some type of mission creep where they end up focusing too much on narcotics or too much on this or too much on that. And so when we reinstituted this unit, it was a couple years ago now, that was the biggest concern. And I'll tell you this, they have stayed on mission from day one, which is hard to do at times when you get pulled in 10 different directions every day. And so it's just nice to know that these guys are going to go out there and do what's asked of them without even having to ask them usually. They just know what needs to be done. And so the informal part, that's what I want to tell you. Now, the formal part, some of their highlights from 2021 include responding to 1,614 calls for service. This group right here made 189 felony arrests, 156 misdemeanor arrests, recovered 78 firearms, served 149 warrants, and 41 recovered stolen vehicles and trailers, including four-wheelers and a boat. The unit helped identify 5 shooting suspects in 2021, including 2 local gang members involved in a homicide in Houston. They were also instrumental in identifying a suspect involved in a fatality crash, ultimately apprehending the suspect. The team worked with other departments in the city in a collaborative effort to rid neighborhoods of 2 problem residences, greatly improving the quality of life for residents in those areas. The proactive policing unit is really the go-to unit of the department. Whenever someone needs anything, from information or surveillance to manpower or just presence, they step up to help. And I've only touched on some of their accomplishments of the unit. They regularly collaborate with narcotics, patrol, and criminal investigations. And their dedication to the department and its mission, as well as their drive to protect the citizens of Pasadena, makes them more than worthy of this chief citation. Congratulations.
Actually, I do. Just real quickly, in a time when proactive policing, you want me to go there? In a time when proactive policing is not very popular, I just want to say one thing. These guys are above and beyond integrity, doing things with ethics and doing things right. We've had 0 complaints through ID in the last 2 years, which is unheard of for a proactive policing unit. So with that, I want to thank these guys. Without them, this wouldn't have happened, but it's these guys here. These guys are just outstanding, and I can't say enough about them. So thank y'all.
We're going to close it out with 2 final presentations of the Meritorious Service Ribbon. The Meritorious Service Ribbon is awarded to any officer who serves in a manner especially worthy of recognition for superior performance and professional excellence. And Officer James Smith and Carrie Smith will be honored today. They're not related. And where are you at? James and Carrie, will come up here for me, please. Officer James Smith was born in Pasadena. He later attended and graduated from Dobie High School in 1992. He joined the Air Force, where he was part of the 2nd Security Forces Squadron at Barksdale Air Force Base in Louisiana. He later joined the Pasadena Police Department in 2001, where he was part of the 51st Academy class, and he has served in the Patrol Division for the past 21 years. Let me say this about James, and 21 years is a long time in patrol. And James is one of those guys, he's a hard worker, probably could go to a specialized division if he wanted to, but chooses to stay on patrol, and he does a great job. On April 11, 2022, Officer James Smith was dispatched to a concern for welfare involving a suicidal male. The male told his wife that he wanted to hurt himself and was in a closed garage with his vehicle running. Officer Smith arrived on scene, assessed that the male was in the vehicle, in the locked garage, and the vehicle was running. The male was unresponsive, so Officer Smith began coordinating efforts to gain entry to the garage. He requested the fire department, building maintenance, and an ambulance to respond to the scene. After gaining access to the garage, the male was found to be unconscious and unresponsive. Medics were able to render first aid and transport him to the hospital. Officer Smith's action that day went above and beyond the call of duty. He coordinated with several agencies while under extreme pressure to get the male help before it was too late. Ultimately, a life was saved by Officer Smith's quick thinking and problem skills. And I'm proud to present Officer James Smith with a Meritorious Service Ribbon for his outstanding response to a tense situation that required an expedient resolution. Congratulations.
No.
I knew the answer.
I know the answer. I just asked to be nice. Officer Carrie Smith. So we stole Carrie from the school district police department. She graduated from the 78th Pasadena Police Academy class, and prior to joining us, she was a police officer for the Pasadena ISD Police Department, where she served as a patrol officer for 11 years. She's a Master Peace Officer, TCCC certified, and was a field training officer, ERT, and tactical medicine instructor at her previous department. Officer Smith is currently assigned to night shift patrol. On April 15, 2022, Officer Smith arrived at the scene of a motor vehicle crash. Officer Smith observed an unconscious female in the back seat of the vehicle. The mother of the unconscious passenger told Officer Smith that her daughter was epileptic and having a seizure, causing her to lose consciousness. Officer Smith noticed some fluid in the back seat by the female, which upon closer inspection was blood. While rendering medical aid to the female, she realized that the blood was from a lower extremity arterial bleed. Officer Smith acted quickly and applied a tourniquet to the female, most likely saving her life. Officer Smith could have accepted the mother's explanation of why the female was unconscious, not investigated further while waiting for the medics to arrive. Had she done so, the female very likely would have bled out and died from her injuries. Officer Smith's actions on this scene reflect highly not only of her conscientious work ethic, but also the department and the service we have sworn to provide. And it's my honor to present Carrie with a Meritorious Service Ribbon. Did I say something?
No, thank you.
One more time, if you'll give a round of applause for all the award recipients. Again, I want to thank you all for taking time out of your afternoon to come out here and support all the award recipients. Again, I said it when I started, and I'll say it again, but they can't do the job that they do without the support at home and someone there to back them up at home, and that's what they need. And so I want to thank you for that. Before you leave, there is cake and punch. If you go out the hallway all the way to the end, please eat the cake, drink the punch so that we don't have to take it back to the station. Policemen don't need it, but there is plenty down there to have. But again, thank you all for coming out. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.